Hi, everybody. My name's Bob Sjogren. I'm the director of the Casa Grande Alliance here in Casa Grande. And we have a short presentation and then a Kahoot game that we have prepared for you. And we expect that the winners of the Kahoot game will win a prize, and we'll figure that out somehow as we've done that. So let me introduce today's speakers. We have Annika Khan, who is a junior at Vista Grande High School. Um, and we have Christina Petrin. She's a sophomore at Union High School, and we have Rachel Lim, and she's a senior at Union High School, and they are all leaders in our Casa Grande Youth Alliance, and they have been working on this presentation for you today, and now they're here to deliver it. So with that, let me move it to the next slide. What we'll be talking today, what we'll be talking about is substance use, dealing with stress, mental health and how it relates to substances, and then we want to give you a page of resources so that you can make contact and so forth. So with that, I'll toss it over to Annika, who will cover the first few slides.
Hi everyone, I'm Annika, and I'll be talking to you guys about substance use, misuse, give you guys some definitions on how people can misuse substances. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So we have some definitions for you guys today. Use, this is the quote unquote proper way that people make use out of substances when they're prescribed to you, when the doses are low or infrequent. Now, misuse is when it starts to get negative. So misuse would be when the use of drugs is not consistent with legal or medical guidelines, when it's not prescribed and, you can take them illegally. Abuse is when it really starts to take over your life. It's when you're compromising your health for the high that the drugs can give you, when you can't fulfill the major roles in your life, such as when, you miss school or something like that. Dependency is when you're craving this substance chronically, so over time you have a constant need for this substance. So when someone is addicted to substances or dependent on them, it's important to be empathetic with them, because the substances could make them feel good, as such as the first reason says. The initial effects, it gives them that initial high. People could also be pressured into taking substances, peer pressure, people around them. There could also be a high availability of substances around them. So, they're influenced by their environment. The feeling that substances could give someone, it could relieve their anxiety or stress, or they think it improves their performance at school or sports or something, like steroids. So people who have mental conditions like BPD, depression, anxiety, they're more at risk on their abuse. And that's important to remember. So we have some statistics for you guys today. An estimated 23.5 million Americans age 12 or older, so this includes preteens, teenagers, everyone, they needed treatment for a drug, a substance, or an alcohol problem in 2009. This is almost 1 out of every 10 people. That is a very high statistic. The annual total estimated cost of substance use in the US is about 511 million. Half of all lifetime cases of mental illness and substance use disorders begin by age 14, so when they barely become a teenager, and 3/4 begin at age 24. Approximately 25%, or 2.5 million adults with serious mental illnesses, are also dependent or have abused or misused drugs or alcohol. However, 2/3 of Americans believe addiction can be prevented, so there is hope. And I'll pass it off to Rachel.
Thank you, Annika. Rachel?
Hello, my name is Rachel, and I'm going to be doing this subject, or just this part of the PowerPoint. So we're going to talk about types of substances and their use, misuse, abuse, and the dependency of it. So some of these include alcohol, tobacco, cocaine, marijuana, heroin, fentanyl, and prescriptions. Next slide. So substances and their side effects. So the effect all depends on dosages, on the dosage that the user takes, the age, the health, and the type of substance that they use. And then I guess some in the short term of wait, hold on, let me start over. Oh my goodness. So when it comes to using substances, they usually do have an effect on mental health and I guess even physical health as well. So in the short term, they can affect you through loss of focus, which means you maybe lose interest in your grades, attendance, or school. You lose interest in some things that go on in your life. It interferes with your brain development. You experience changes in appetite. It makes living for you much more difficult, and you can experience social isolation from friends and family. You become vulnerable to heart attack, and then in the long term, there are changes in brain function, heart or lung disease, of course, mental illnesses, and even passing away. Next slide. So this slide right here basically represents the physical and psychological effects of it that can happen either right now or over time and become maybe chronic. So the physical effects can be increased blood pressure and heart rate in breathing and blood flow of blood sugar, and then the decrease can be and then it can lead to decreased blood flow. And psychological can be repetitive misuse of prescription drugs, which lead to psychosis, anger, or paranoia. And drug injection is even worse, as sharing the injection can lead to impaired judgment and increase the risk of spreading sexually transmitted diseases. Next slide. And here, when it comes to teaching people the awareness of like drugs and not using and abusing them, it kind of goes back a little bit to like the 1970s. So this slide basically explains why we're not telling you to just say no. Because in the past, the US government has tried to discourage the misuse and abuse with something known as the War on Drugs and the Just Say No campaign. War on Drugs began with President Richard Nixon in the 1970s, and the Just Say No was started by President Ronald Reagan's wife in the 1980s. Neither of these were effective in deterring substance misuse, abuse, and dependency. Today, we kind of live in the outcome of what Presidents Nixon and Reagan have created for us. So as young adults, we may face peer pressure or stressors that make substance use or misuse look like a great way to escape. What usually ends up happening is that it just makes things worse. So, peer pressure and all that other kind of stuff, it doesn't really actually take away our issues, and it only adds on to the issues that we want to escape. What we're telling you from this PowerPoint is that everyone experiences stress in their lives, and what is important is that people find meaningful and healthy ways to deal with stress. So, instead of turning to something that can be harmful for your life in the moment that you do it, and in the future, like long term, there are other ways that you can handle like stress and mental health and whatever you're dealing with in your life. And by focusing on the simple and important things, as well as expressing your thoughts, ideas, and feelings, you can effectively self-regulate and manage your stress. Next slide. Personal prevention strategies. So this is some techniques that we would probably suggest to you guys. If the crowd you're in uses substances, try to promote healthier and safer habits. So if you ever experience peer pressures, just don't listen to them and leave the crowd. Sure, this could be like a just say no, but this is like a much more effective way. So you just walk away from the situation and try to find the right kinds of people in your lives that are much more supportive of you and your decisions and things like that. Try to maybe pick a new hobby or get involved in the community. Volunteering is actually a really good way to get rid of stress and it actually benefits not only yourself sometimes, but like it also benefits other people, as well as sports and extracurricular activities, maybe in school or within your community. If you're dealing with major stress in your life, start talking with a trusted, caring adult or maybe a therapist. This decision may save your life and have positive, long-lasting results that can last. It is true that you should talk to a trusted and caring adult or therapist, and yeah, make goals and a plan on how to achieve them. So make goals or plans about make plans for your goals and look for ways to achieve them in the future. So positive action is the only thing standing between you and success. Next slide. And then the bottom line from this section here is when substance use and misuse enters your life, talk it through with a trusted, caring adult, a friend, or a mentor. It's incredibly important that whether you or like a loved one are going through something and they're experiencing something like this, it's good to not, it's better to be empathetic and understanding and supportive rather than bring shame onto them, because that shame is kind of just enrooted in what we live through, what we've seen throughout society due to things like say no to drugs and the war on drugs. It's this kind of like attack or this negative perception of people who experience or are victims of substance abuse, and it's really not fair for them, you know? So the least that you could do when someone you care about, or maybe even your own self, experience substance abuse or substance use, is that you try to be more empathetic rather than bringing shame. So there you go.
Thank you, Rachel. And now we're going to toss it over to Christina to finish out the PowerPoint. Here we go.
All right, hi guys. I'm Christina, and today I'm going to be talking to you about managing stress and mental health. So, being a teenager and going to school and family and all those things can cause stress. So, here are some ways that we can help you manage it. So the first step in managing stress is recognizing. So recognize what is causing you stress, because it could be toxic friends, classes, school, family problems. There's many things that can be causing you stress, and you need to recognize so that way you can reflect. And reflecting is just thinking about solutions and what you can do so that way you can be the best you can be in the long run, and that leads you to understanding. So, understanding is accepting that everyone goes through stress, and whatever's going on, it's okay and it's a normal thing. And, now is time to talk. So, you need to talk to somebody you trust. So, it could be a trusted, caring adult. It can be a close friend that isn't the problem. It can be anyone that you feel comfortable talking to about your problems and your feelings. And then next is to treat yourself. So you can do this by eating healthy, having self-care days, and kind of just taking some time to let everything sink in. And yeah, next slide. So this is the last topic, and we're going to be talking about health management. And this is just taking care of yourself. So here's a little quote. I'll give you a second to read it, but I'll read it for you. Man did not weave the web of life, he is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. Our health is the harmony of the body, mind, and spirit. And that's Chief Seattle, right? Is that how you say it? All right. So here's some ways to improve your lifestyle healthily. So as a teen, it's important that you manage your time to eliminate stress and keep active and eat healthy. So as a teen, I know it's harder to have as much time to take care of yourself because, there's a lot of things, whether it's extracurriculars or school, but it's important to make sure that you have you time. So some things you can do is, journal, and you can do things that improve your mental health and your health in general. Mental illnesses like depression, anxiety can cause you to lose motivation in taking care of yourself, and that is totally okay. And so A lot of people go through this, and so one thing we want you to know is that you're not alone and you're not the only one going through this. So it's okay to seek help from a trusted caring adult, like a teacher, school counselor, coach, parent, therapist, or friend, if that makes you feel more comfortable. But managing your stress and regulating your thoughts and feelings can minimize the impact of your mental illness. This is the first step in improving your lifestyle. But at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is make sure that you are doing what's best for you and that you are managing everything you need to in order to be your best self. So here are the next steps. So the best way to start is to plan. So organizing your schedules and keeping on track of appointments and due dates can help you to be less stressed and to give you more free time. So share your ideas with people, friends, caring adults, and journal, diary, whatever way you can to share your ideas and feelings is what you need to be doing. If you're struggling with mental health, please ask for help and find someone that you can talk to and get help from. Every day, it's important to have time to work on your quality of life and overall happiness, which is the quiet time we were talking about, or hobbies, or something that can get you away from the things causing you stress and impacting your mental health. If you feel unmotivated to exercise or eat healthy, make sure that you take it slow because exercise isn't for everyone. And that's totally okay because everyone is different. And so, start with eating more healthy, cutting out fast food if you can, incorporating fruits and veggies. And then make sure you're involved in a hobby that helps you exercise and stay healthy, but in a fun way. So that can be sports, marching band, even playing the Wii, like Just Dance or Wii Sports. Those give you exercise, and that's what's important. So whether you are someone who is really healthy or someone who is maybe struggling with mental illness or just doesn't feel like exercising or whatever, it's okay. And, you do what you feel is right for you and don't let anyone pressure you into being someone who you don't want to be. All right. So these are some resources and hotlines for you in case of an emergency. Um, we please want you to reach out if you're having trouble with any of these things. Um, these are just crisis hotlines, and you matter, and you will get through whatever problems you're going through. And so we have the suicide hotline. It's Spanish and English. There's the number, the crisis text line, and then the National Eating Disorder Association, the Trevor Project, which is for LGBTQ plus youth, and people in general, the addiction hotline, the Alliance on Mental Illness, our phone number, the non-emergency police department for Casa Grande, and please do not hesitate if you are in danger, and you will not get into trouble if you use any of these resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. I'd like to reiterate that if you feel like you need to reach out and you don't know where to turn, you're always welcome to call here. But I think that you've got great people in your schools, you've got teachers, you've got support staff, you've got counselors, you've got administrators. They're there to help. They're there to help you be the best you can possibly be. So that concludes our little PowerPoint today, and we will get on with the business of playing the Kahoot for fun and prizes shortly. Thank you all for joining us today.